TM 2023. Actually, it's almost 2024. Maybe better make it 2024. Maybe a little bit cryptic, but it'll make sense soon as we get into the vlog. That's going to be the topic of this episode of Chi Life. So this is another topic that came out of some of the conversations I had with different people over the last little while around the workshops that I taught in Melbourne. Great opportunity to connect with people who have, similar interests, similar points of view on lots of things, but also different experiences, different points of view on some things, and share different ideas and just, get some different perspectives on things, and it provokes thinking and interesting, enjoyable discussion. And one of the things that I talked about, and this was with one of the other Qigong instructors after one of the workshops, was about different people, different schools, different practices that they've had exposure to and interacted with, and some of the attitudes that sort of come through from different people around some of these things. And one of the things we were talking about, and it was actually, so this was Susan who mentioned this, was around how some people, they get very precious and very possessive of different things within their practice. Like they really want to own it, like it's theirs and no one else can do it differently, and and all that sort of thing. And in many ways it's kind of like trying to trademark the sound Om. Now I expect many of you watching this vlog have probably been exposed to a lot of different practices from different traditions, and you're probably aware that the sound Om is used in many different traditions. And sometimes different meanings are attributed to that sound, according to the philosophies behind those different traditions. But it's used very broadly, and it's a sound that it's a really nice, well-balanced sound. It balances opening and closing. It vibrates through the whole body and has an effect of harmonizing our energy. And what the idea of someone trying to restrict other people's ability to use the sound, like to trademark it or copyright it, seems patently absurd. But to some degree, like, some people seem to have this kind of attitude. Like, and particularly with Om, I think it's a good example of it, because one of the meanings that some people have for the sound Om is that it is the sound of the universe itself. It's like the background sound that is always there. And so by us making this sound, we're harmonizing ourselves with the universe. So it's like, really? You're going to try to trademark the sound of the universe? How can you even do that? We're all part of this. We're all connected to this. But still, that's the attitude that some people have. And again, getting very precious, very pedantic about practices, and it has to be done this way, and you can't do it another way, and all that sort of thing. And I think that often really stands in the way of people gaining a true understanding of what it is that they're working with. Whenever I teach Qigong, one of the things I'm really hoping that my students, that the people who participate in my courses will get from them is not just being able to learn a set of practices, movements, and be able to copy them and do them, but an understanding of the principles underneath them. Because that's where the real value is. You can do what appears to be the same movement, or almost the same movement, because it could appear, it depends on how skilled your eye is, it could appear almost exactly the same, and miss the benefit and really not experience what you can get from that if you don't understand and you're not actually directing your attention to that deeper principle. And these principles are universal. The practices are just tools for helping us to become aware of them, access them, and work with them. And when we understand those principles in that way, it means that, well, whatever practices we've learnt have become richer. We're able to get more out of them. It then also gives us the ability, where we need to maybe modify or change the practices while still, or maybe even better, working with the underlying principles. You know, we might need to adapt them for physical limitations or for, you know, for any other number of reasons, but still be able to work with those principles. It also allows us to see how those principles are manifest, you know, throughout our lives in many different areas, and find other ways to work with them and harmonize with them. So I think it's a really useful perspective to have, to recognize that when we're doing Qigong, you know, the practices themselves are a more surface level expression of something deeper that we're trying to connect to and trying to understand. Now, this more surface level expression is really useful. Of course, you know, any of these principles we could discover just by ourselves, right? Because, you know, we're having our own lived experience in this universe and nature, and we could just discover these principles for ourselves just through living. But we do gain a lot from learning from other people who've spent, you know, sometimes a lot of time, maybe their whole lifetime, and maybe several people's lifetimes, as different things have been passed down, tuning into these and noticing the details and finding ways that you can direct your attention, your awareness towards these things. So we benefit a lot from using these tools to develop our understanding, probably a lot faster than maybe we would by ourselves, just by exploring. But having said that, we don't want to mistake that surface level practice for the principle itself. We want to make sure that that's where our attention is, and that's where we're going to get the true value, the true full benefit of whatever it is, whatever practice that we're doing. So yeah, just an interesting little topic that came up in one of those conversations. I thought I'd share it with you. I thought it was quite a funny sort of idea of, you know, someone trying to trademark the sound Om. So much of what we do is universal principle. We have our own ways of working with it, you know, own ways of accessing it. But we're connecting to something that is universal for all of us. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I look forward to seeing you on another vlog soon.